Welcome aboard and welcome back. This is the Love Boat Project, episode number 5. I am Mike Taylor, and with me, as always, my co-host Mike Robertson. Ahoy, Mike!
Hi, I'm the. I like to think that I'm the Roxy Blue of Love Boat podcasts. So
Trying to keep a low profile.
I'm
I see.
I'm a conglomerate.
Clearly, I'm looking for the 5 white guys in suits behind you, looking at you.
That was great.
Oh,
Before we even get started, I just want to spoiler. I loved this episode
I did too.
so hard. It was. I
I
was
did too.
so excited. I think I texted you. I was watching this on vacation on a deck by a lake, which really is how you should watch a Love Boat episode. And just pop, just to letting passersby know how great this 45-year-old episode of television was. So
Yeah, I watched this episode twice, and the first time I watched it, very cruise-like, was in a hotel in Alabama. Very almost like being on the
it's
Pacific
like being
Princess,
there.
and then once at home. So I hear you. I was on vacation too. Excuse me. This was a fun episode. Without giving any detail, it was fun. It was fun. So we're going to talk about the Love Boat season 1, episode 5, titled "Help Murder," Isaac the Groupie, and Mr. Popularity. I'll give you a quick recap. A wife thinks her spouse wants her dead. Isaac falls for a glamorous star, and a man becomes popular when he's mistaken for a jewel thief. So, original air date October 22nd, 1977. What was on TV? Well, what was on that night? Love Boat at 10 p.m. on ABC. NBC had a movie called Little Big Man. Movie synopsis: Jack Crab, which I'm in
That's
it.
his
Jack
name.
Crab.
Is it
I'm
the
in.
actor or the
I'm in. I think
character?
he's half man, half crab.
Oh
Half of him is
no.
yeah. He drags around one giant. I'm just kidding. Looking back, Jack Crab, looking back on his life from extreme old age, tells of his life being raised by Native Americans and fighting with General Custer.
Wow.
Jack Crab, Little Big Men, NBC movie, 10 p.m. CBS, Carol Burnett show, which apparently was just a monster. That thing was just, I remember it as a kid too. I love the Carol Burnett show.
That's a big. I wonder. I need to look because that's 2 weeks in a row now that we've had the Love Boat Carol Burnett head to head. I wonder what version of that it is. Like, is Conway and Harvey Korman still there? Because I think at the
Yeah,
end it got a little thin.
it did
So
get a little. I remember they had a little more guest stars. It was a little
yeah,
more heavy, like Vicki Lawrence heavy,
a
towards the end.
lot of
Yeah,
mama skits.
lot
Yeah,
of mama skits.
yeah.
Um, Also that day, our Philadelphia Flyers lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs, the score of 6-1.
Oh,
Oof, that's a really bad score in 77. That's
yeah.
2 line passes are on.
Probably a
Ouch.
lot of Daryl Sittler.
Was 77. Were the Flyers good in
Flyers are just
77?
off 3 cup finals.
Fantastic. Early in the season. Don't
Yeah.
worry, everyone.
I'm sure it'll work out. I'm sure they'll win many cups
They'll be fine.
between
They'll be
that
fine.
date and today.
There's going to be so many. We have nothing
You'll
to
be
worry
so
about.
sick of winning. It's going to be
Future
terrible.
is bright. Number 1 song. Any guesses on this?
Okay, so interesting you say that. I'm going to go with something maybe from like a Donna Summer because I almost felt like Roxy Blue was a Donna Summer knockoff.
That's a very good guess. It is You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone.
Debbie Boone.
Just
not
like
Roxy Blue.
Roxy Blue.
Yeah, yes. Peas in a pod, those two.
Well, it's funny you talk about. Oh, I should wait, but I'm not going to wait. The thing is, when you said that, like a Donna Summer sort of thing, a singer, the Roxy Blue, just know as well, and maybe when I was doing the research, Diane Carroll had like albums, singing
Yeah.
albums. She was so I feel like it's one of those deals where it was pretty much her. I've said too much.
We'll get to it.
So it coming up very soon. So guest starring Michelle Lee as Denise Fredericks. Now, Michelle Lee, was the only person to appear in all 344 episodes of.
It's
Any
either
guesses?
Knots Landing or Falcon Crest, but I'm not sure which one.
I'll give you a hint. It is one of them.
Yeah.
It is a Dallas spinoff, and I was not aware of this, that it was a Dallas spinoff.
So I feel that's got to be Knots Landing, right?
You're correct.
Yeah.
She was on Knots Landing from 1979 to 1993.
Oh God, can you imagine? Like, I feel bad for the people who are doing the Knots Landing project. They have like 100 more episodes than we do.
They're never going to finish. And then where
No.
you don't even get to do the final episode on a cruise.
No,
You just get to do it on a landing.
Maybe.
Just any landing will do.
So
Lame.
which was Knots Landing with oh God, who's
Was it
the
Morgan
guy?
Fairchild?
Yeah, and I can see the guy.
Lorenzo
I can
Lamas?
see him. He's all I guess him too. Well, whatever. I can see
we
the
can
other,
keep
like
going.
the main guy. I can
Sounds
see
like
him.
we have a new podcast.
He was the would-be vice presidential nominee for Jed
Oh.
Bartlett when they kicked off Tim Matheson, but he didn't get it.
You know way more about this than I do. I know nothing about Knots Landing.
Well, no, that was about West Wing. That's all I know is that guy.
You know what?
was
I've
on-
never seen an episode of West Wing, and everyone's like, "You gotta
Really?
see it." I got scared because they're like, "Well, it's very, very dialogue driven," and for some reason, I don't know why that's just intimidated the crap out of me.
It's the good. I don't like Aaron Sorkin, I don't think, because of that, but I think I like West Wing. So take that.
So thumbs up, thumbs down. I should give it a shot.
I'll give you a curated list because there are definitely some things you can avoid, but
Okay.
worth your time.
I mean, yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate that. So that's Michelle Lee. Michelle Lee also appeared in a lot of movies, just like a lot of these 70s guest stars. They're in like a million different TV shows as a guest star. She was also in The Love Bug.
The Love Bug.
The Love Bug. Yeah, the Disney movie.
I wonder if she was ever in a third love thing.
Love Boat, Love Bug,
Boat.
Love Actually.
Maybe some sort of plane.
Love American Style.
Funny because her character was so skittish about traveling, and here she is in a bug and a boat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. She was just, yeah. We'll get into it. So next is David Groh as Bert Fredericks. A couple facts about Mr. Groh. He is best known for his portrayal of Joe Girard in the 1970s series Rhoda opposite Valerie Harper. Here's the secondary fact. Joe and Rhoda married in the 7th episode. 50 million viewers watched that episode. It is one of TV's most watched single episodes ever. I guess they were just promoting the hell out of it. But I mean, if there's only 3 networks,
still 50 million.
50 million's a big.
I wonder
number.
what that is like relative to today. But
who's getting 50 million views today?
The Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the only thing that gets 50 million.
No TV show is getting. Well, I wonder like what the last Seinfeld did, or like maybe the last Cheers, or like one of those monsters. But 50 million's a lot. That's just blew my mind reading that.
He was really good in this, and I was like, he looks so familiar. And I've never seen Rhoda.
No, I've never.
Mary Tyler Moore is on my winter list of binge comedy shows.
Nice.
Well, I'll be getting to that next year. But he turned out, I knew him from 2 things. 2 Minute Warning.
2 Minute Warning
is one of the late 70s disaster films. This one was around a football game where there was like snipers shooting at fans in the stands.
Like the Jean-Claude Van Damme one, when he like the hockey one in Mellon Arena.
Except this one had John Cassavetes and Charlton Heston.
Who was was Charlton Heston the bad guy?
No, they were both the good guys.
Well, who was the bad guy?
I forget who the bad guy was.
Why wouldn't Heston be the bad guy in that? Wouldn't he be a great bad guy? And you got to have like.
It was great. It was great. Highly recommend. Would watch again. They're like just shooting. They just end up like shooting Bo Bridges or Jack Klugman in the stands. One of them, like just take him down.
When in doubt.
But what I think I really knew him from was a small arc on Melrose Place, which was during the stretch when I was watching it in college.
Can you give me some context on that one? Yeah.
He was the mafioso father of Heather Locklear's boyfriend, Antonio Sabato Jr., who came to Melrose Place to find out who killed his son and then stuff happens.
Who
But if I
killed
remember
his?
correctly, Heather Locklear killed his son by throwing him off a balcony into a chandelier. So
Wait, he off of a balcony into a
they were like
chandelier?
in one of those fancy houses and they were fighting, I think, and she pushes him off her or something like that, and he like crashes into a chandelier. This is all on 30-year-old memory. I think I'm right though.
I just remember the Sydney storyline where she was like completely nuts.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but that's
In the same era, I think.
it's an
'Cause that's
amazing
I didn't watch
recollection.
all of Melrose Place, but I definitely watched a couple of years of it.
I mean, I was just a big Jack Wagner fan, musically, golf,
Frisco?
everything, you know.
Yeah.
Frisco, all I need. Just
Oh,
a little
he's
more
gonna be on this.
time. Oh, absolutely.
We
Heather
get hi
Locklear
I
is gonna be
guarantee
on it.
so I guarantee you we get him.
Yeah. Okay.
I think TJ Hooker was an ABC show, so we're definitely getting
The Shat
mid-80s,
or
early
Adrian
80s.
Zmed.
Probably, but we're probably getting Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
I don't
What
think
about
we're getting
what about
anybody
Lee
else, though.
Majors? What do you think? Lee Majors?
I think the only way we get Lee Majors is if it's one of those him and Farrah show up in like a major episode. He might be too big a star.
I mean, the Fall Guy. That's the only thing I'm thinking of. Like when that.
Are we in Fall Guy or are we still in Bionic Man or $6 Million Man?
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's a good point. He's
Yeah.
probably too big of a star at this
I don't
point.
know. I feel like at some point, all the big stars we've seen so far, quote unquote, are on the come or 30 years old.
Well, let me
stars.
ask you this: who's the biggest star that we've seen so far? Not including this episode, because I think this episode changes it a little bit.
So if you're saying star in terms of like history of like, all
like
things
that.
total, it's probably
Like,
Milton Berle still.
I agree. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
just
so I'm going
from
to say who was the biggest star at the time.
yeah. Let's say that
It's either Sherman Hemsley or JJ Walker, probably.
yeah,
all the
because
Three's Company
Ritter
people-
was about to be,
But it wasn't right, but it
Yeah.
wasn't yet. Yeah.
What about Bonnie Franklin?
But wasn't that real early in the run too?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I didn't even think about that. Does Steubing know the guy from Rhoda? Is this a Mary Tyler Moore reunion? How about
That's a good
that?
point.
And they
That's
don't
a
have a
good point.
scene.
And
They just
nothing.
they don't give it to him. It's like The Force Awakens. They don't get the crew back together.
It's very meta.
Terrible.
That's awesome. Next, we have Diane Carroll. Fun fact: birth name, first name Carol,
Rocky
middle
Blue.
name Diane, last name
Really?
Johnson.
Oh, so it's
But-
like
but
Brian
she-
Danielson.
But it is like Brian Danielson, except Brian Danielson. It's like, so she changed the spelling of Carol. She added an R and an L for her last name. Then she took her spelling of Diane, which was Diann, and then changed it to Diahann.
Nope. not
She
gonna
did a
spell that.
lot of work with that name. Like, I bet you she was drawing up logos, just everything to see how cool it looked.
That's a lot. Getting an H in Diane is
Well, I'll tell you what, they're both 7 letters. That means there's a cool letter in the middle. If you could do like a triangle. Sorry, Diane Carroll. She rose to prominence in some of the earliest major studio films to feature black casts. She's also known for her role in the television series Julia. That ran from 68 to 71. It made her the first African-American actress to star in her own television series who did not play a domestic worker.
I knew there
I
was
thought that was
something like
interesting.
that. I
Yeah.
knew she was a bit of a groundbreaker with that stuff. She's
been in
outstanding
everything,
in this.
man.
I mean, God, she was just so good in this.
That's why now, when I look at it now, I'm like, gosh, she might be the biggest star to be on the show.
I definitely
now.
think, without really thinking about it, I think just in terms of like everything, I think this was the best acting effort.
Yeah.
Like as far as real acting, like
Well, I
Ritter
think
was doing Ritter, and
Well, it's
and I
funny
actually
'cause
think Michelle Lee was really good in this.
I
Playing
thought
like
so.
but Diane
she
Carroll,
was all in.
that was movie level. She even made Isaac look good, and that was a rough start for
Yeah,
Isaac.
Isaac's a jobber at best. Yes, because she
She
carried him.
to
She's
a
a worker.
4-star match.
Yeah, he looked terrible. He must, Isaac played this week by Dusty Wolf. It was just not good. Jim Neighbors. Let's talk about Jim Neighbors, right? We know Gomer Pyle. I'm not going to hit the obvious things. Instead, I want to focus on where he's from. He is from the great state of Alabama, specifically from a town called Sylacauga. Why is Sylacauga, Alabama famous? It's a great question.
Besides Jim Neighbors?
Besides Jim Neighbors. If I had just said Jim Neighbors and moved on, that would have been good. Sylacauga, and I have no idea if I'm pronouncing it. I'm assuming people in Sylacauga don't know how to pronounce it either. Just saying.
I think we have a
Anyway.
big audience in Sylacauga.
Oh, huge. Sylacauga is the site of the first documented case of an object from outer space hitting a person. All right, let me give you the details on that. On November 30th, 1954, a 9-pound piece of what became known as the Hodges fragment from the Sylacauga meteorite crashed through the roof of an Oak Grove house, bounced off a radio, and badly bruised Ann Hodges, who was taking an afternoon nap.
Oh, poor Ann Hodges.
That's the whole story. Yeah. Claim to fame. Number 2 interesting thing about Mr. Neighbors. From 1972 to 2014, Neighbors sang the song Back Home Again in Indiana with the Purdue All-American Marching Band before every Indy 500 race.
I knew that.
So cool.
I remember that. That is, I think he was still doing that. I mean, definitely when I was watching Indy 500s. So
it's weird. Why wouldn't they go with an Indiana person? I mean, it's just interesting to me. I mean, you'd think John Cougar Mellencamp could get in there maybe in the 90s.
Yeah,
it's just
but
interesting that
Americana,
Neighbors. Yeah,
Americana. I mean, Gomer Pyle's as Americana as you get. I'm
I
trying to
just
think
wonder-
if he also, because now that you say that he's not from Indiana, I wonder if he also sang My Old Kentucky Home at the Derby. I don't know why I think that. I think he just maybe he had a lock on.
He was just freelance.
He just liked to go to stuff.
It'd just be interesting. I think the thing that I thought was odd, obviously it's an Indy 500. The song is Back Home Again in Indiana with the Purdue marching band. It's Indiana, Alabama. Just odd. But I get what you're saying, Americana tradition. Maybe they fell in love with him in 72.
Where was the character of Gomer Pyle from?
Or Sergeant Carter. Maybe it was a tribute to Sergeant Carter after he passed. After he passed in 72, and he did it every year until he couldn't do it anymore. R.I.P. Sergeant Carter.
what a tangled weave of tradition for
Just
the Indy
crazy.
500.
You just never know where these come from. And apparently Sergeant Carter liked milk, and that's when they started. No. Jim Neighbors would go on to appear in 2 more Love Boat episodes, so something to look forward
as the Jewel Thief?
No, different character. We have 2 more guest stars, smaller roles. Olan Sewell as Harvey Grove, American actor. He had professional credits in nearly 7,000 radio shows and commercials.
Wow.
Appearances in 200 television series and television films and over 60 films. Also, fun fact, he was the voice of Batman throughout the 70s and early 80s on Super Friends and all the Batman cartoons.
Really?
Yeah. Because Casey Kasem was Robin. Well, Olan Sewell was the voice of Batman for a long time.
Now I want to go back and listen. I thought he had a very fine voice, but I wouldn't have pegged him as the Batman.
Reva Rose as Myra Grove. She's been in a million things. She's that character, that she's got that voice, very distinctive. You've seen that character in so many shows in this era. There was too many things too.
Now, did you think it was odd that she got a portal credit and he didn't?
I didn't even catch that.
Well, it's funny. I looked because at first I was like, oh, this might be our shortest guest star list.
Right.
Not thinking either of them were going to make it. And then she made it and he didn't.
I wonder, do they have a limit? I mean, because if that's the case, that's what? How many?
That's
1,
5.
2, 3. Right.
I feel like the one with Scott Baio and
that.
all, there was definitely more than 5.
Yeah.
That was a lot. But this was the first episode I felt like I actually kind of needed the portal pictures for
I agree.
Rosie the Riveter or whatever her name was. I didn't know who that was, like as far as a name.
She's so familiar. The voice, the character, all right. Well, let's get started. We begin as a very skittish housewife. The Denise Fredericks, Janet Leigh character, tells her husband she's too frightened or bored the Pacific Princess. He assures her it's perfectly safe and urges her to relax. It's so funny. They played it up real quick, real thick, just to give you that.
She's a very fleshed out character from Jump Street, though, because you get that she's skittish, and then she hits you with like exposition. You know why I'm skittish? Because I'm a PTA president, and I stole a child at Disney World last. You know, she's very frazzled, but they give it to you all fast.
Everything, and she gets a little crazier later on in the episode. I would like to talk about that too, when she's staring at herself. He's assuring her it's perfectly safe and is just urging her to relax. She keeps telling him she's highly stressed about getting out of her regular routine. He's just like, just enjoy the vacation. Enjoy the vacation.
Do you think your wife would be concerned if you all of a sudden booked a trip? Because I feel like mine probably would.
Oh, yeah. No, we don't even make, no. Yeah, I don't even go to the grocery store without an approved list. Like, there's no way. I'm not out there to explore the ocean solo anymore. It's not.
No, it just seems like a
well-defined.
It seems like a big lift. Like, are you a cruise person? Do you have this time off? You know,
well, wouldn't you think he would have to approach this whole idea of going on a cruise or vacation in like a surprise sort of way, due to the level of anxiety and worry that would build up just leading up to getting on the ship?
So almost like two birds. Like, he should have just had the surprise party ready for her when they got on the boat. He should have Mr. Teeter.
That's what I was thinking. B.A. Baracus. I ain't getting on a plane, Hannibal. You know, I'm not going to drink that milk. I know.
You got a bee on your neck, honey, and then
all right. So who do we see next? We see the famous singer Roxy Blue. She's exiting her limousine amongst the protest of her entourage of old white men.
Nine people get out of that clown car, like, just literally. And here's the thing, like, they all start to make this pitch to her that she can't do this and she's going to like piss off Bob Hope and all this stuff. But like, that's a long dock. I'm assuming that Roxy Blue does not live on the water. Like, why were you not talking about this in the car? Did they like wait until they got out of the car and then all of a sudden like, oh, I guess she's getting on the boat. We really need to talk her out of this.
What? Couldn't they told the driver just not to stop?
Yeah, you would think the driver's on the payroll.
There's a bunch of white dudes in suits in the car. Then if not, then what does it take all of you? Because you're all just like, rubble. They were just making noise in the background. You're crazy. Well,
yeah, because only the one guy got actual time. Yeah.
What was it said? They warn her she'll be dead on TV if she leaves Bob Hope in the lurch.
Yeah, they made Bob Hope sound like.
Yeah, but then it was like, what is he stalking her? Is this a TV thing, or if she leaves Bob in the lurch? Yeah, he's going to blacklist her if she doesn't like come to his house for dinner. It sounds. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like, first of all, like, those Bob Hope specials probably tape months in advance, so it's not like Bob Hope's not working live. You know, I'm sure he'll be able to find whoever the All-American tight end in 1977 was to catch a pass. And let me tell you, ball, like, one of those things. It's just,
maybe he was filthy in 77. Maybe he was like early Dice, like Bob Hope Dice, just all the,
I think we're within, God, it might be a couple months or it might be a year. We're right around the time that the old Binger passed away. So maybe you don't want to cross Bob Hope.
Maybe not. All
right,
powerful man. So basically, she's like, I don't care. I need a vacation. She's rushing aboard the ship. And I just put a note here. I just love the image of the 5 white guys in suits behind her when she's walking away. Yeah. It made me giggle.
It looked like, remember the David Lee Roth video where he's got the TV station? It's Dave TV. And there's like all those little like clips and everything. That looked like one of those like sped up scenes where all those guys looked like suits, network suits that were like
They
chasing
didn't.
Dave around with notes. That's what it said. That's what it looked like.
That was so funny to me. It made me giggle out loud.
Yeah.
From the deck above, Isaac. And then I wondered, what's the bartender do? Anyway, Isaac
Man,
spots her arrival and excitedly tells Julie and Gopher that a star is in their midst, and then adds that he's a huge fan of Roxy Blue's music. And then this weird joke about sounding like George C. Scott.
yeah.
And all I can see is the Patton movie poster. God, I love that movie. I didn't get that at all.
I
I
guess he
didn't
was the
really.
gravelly voiced actor of the day.
You know what?
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
probably a reference that would
It's just
would make more sense to us.
maybe. You know what? You're probably right. It's just timely.
You know why Isaac is named Isaac? Because his
No.
eyes are so good. He spotted her from miles away. Like she wasn't even at the gate.
He must have heard rumblings.
What are
Who's
the
looking
odds?
that hard?
What are the odds that the bartender, like you said, why is the bartender even out there?
Because
And he's on the right side, the correct side of the boat.
He believe it was starboard. I believe we're.
Speaking of stalking her, it's not Bob Hope you got to worry about. It's Isaac.
It is Isaac. He's going to politely stalk you. And interesting that there is a camera shot following this Roxy Blue entrance, and it is of a conveyor belt with cases of Heineken being loaded on the ship, because nothing says Pacific Princess quite like Heineken. And this is before
Heineken,
like
so that's
brand.
that's a gratuitous brand advertisement.
Well, I wonder if it seemed more foreign back then, more a little less accessible.
The international flavor of
Heineken. I just thought it was interesting. Of all the products to show, it was cases of Heineken. Back to Bert. Bert gives Julie a friendly hello as he and Denise check in, and Julie gives him their cabin number, sends them on their way. Interesting thing here. We've talked about this check-in process quite a few times, probably every time. And now I'm a little more confused because now I've been thinking about it, and they never give him a key, a receipt,
I have a
or an
point.
ID bracelet.
I have a point about that later.
Interesting. Well, you know what? I'll put a pin in that, and we'll come back to that.
But I will say, no key was handed over at this time.
I didn't see.
Let's put a pin. Let's put a pin in that for later.
Now, did you see in past episodes? I don't remember there ever being anything given, whether it's a piece of paper or anything given to them.
No.
No.
If anything, this is the most pre-warning that anybody's had for poor Julie.
Yeah.
That he called ahead about something, but there's no subterfuge. He gives the names of both people. She said where to go, but that's it. There's nothing exchanged.
There's
no ID, no entry point, nothing.
I wonder if today's cruises, if they do like a bracelet, or is it more like a hotel card?
Fob.
Something. Yeah, I bet it's real easy.
Card. I mean, I assume cruises run like hotels now, like with all the access stuff.
I just wonder if you have a certain, like, I've got platinum level, so your little bracelet thing when you scan it at the bar.
Well, the card fob, it would all do the same thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. Then you'd have to make this thing waterproof and a whole. Yeah, actually,
plus it would be gauche. It's not a choker.
No, unless maybe you can get in coral. Something nautical. Can I have mine in conch shell? That'd be awesome. Suspicious Denise. Here we go. Ask Bert how he knew Julie's name, and he points out that she's wearing a name tag.
Wah, wah.
Right? Nothing going wrong here. Don't worry about Bert. Not doing anything shady. Wanders back over to where Julie's standing and covertly tells her that he's the one who made special birthday plans for his wife.
Wasn't so covert though. Come on, Bert.
So like he goes back to his wife, and then he fibs. I wrote down fibs. I haven't wrote down that word in a long time. That he just asked Julie to pass along a message to the captain. I don't even want to say this next thing. To steer the ship as safely as possible. Which brings me to a point that's been brought up every episode. In one of the first scenes in this episode, like they show the captain.
Oh, we have the same note. Good. I'm glad you went back to it.
Not behind a wheel, but in like this, like almost like a crow's nesty sort of thing,
or like a gun turret. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, S- Now I feel like the Love Boat's sort of screwing with this. I think they've seen the episodes and they're going, we're never going to show him the steering wheel. Why wouldn't that be? Why would you show him?
But did you see what he's doing? So
He was just.
he's got a walkie-talkie, I
I
guess,
saw that
and he's
lining up the
waving it
boat.
like you're trying to like back up a
Yeah,
moving truck or
somebody's
something.
parallel parking the
Right.
the Pacific
So
Princess.
so is someone else? First of all, the boat's docked, but even if it's not, shouldn't he be like? If you're a captain, the biggest thing I would assume is like pulling in and pulling out of the dock, right?
You don't need, if you're the captain, you're not the guy going like the holding, like you're not
So
the guy
he-
giving direction.
so he's not physically exiting land
Oh,
if he's doing this move.
you know what? Here's the parallel: a captain of an airliner, of an airplane, right? He doesn't get out when they land,
Yeah.
grab 2 flashlights, and have some jobber steer the plane while he's doing this. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that the captain of the ship is more like a maitre d'.
Oh, I do not disagree with you on that. The other thing here is, man, that guy is a quick liar to his wife. He didn't skip a beat. Like he just rolled out like, "Oh no, dog, you got me all
Surprise
wrong. I was blah, blah, blah,
surprise
blah,
party
blah."
rules.
He's
You
just
were
too.
you were at that surprise party I threw where I had a double surprise party. Man, I was lying for days to my wife about that.
That's not an easy thing to pull off.
But it's great because it's all free lies. You can
It
lie as
is. It
much as you
all.
need to for the greater good.
However, and it's always nice when we had days when we're like, we are not going to tell a lie all day. It is a day
Yes.
of truths.
Right.
So
Not for Bert.
not for Bird.
And
It's a
again, like you said, look
cruise
what
of
he's working
lies.
with. She doesn't believe anything.
She's completely paranoid. Here we go. A particularly eager passenger cuts the line to check in with Gopher. Says his name is Robert Tanner. That's Tanner. The woman he cut in front of, Myra Grove, tells her husband Harvey that if this guy starts spelling out Robert, she's going to scream. Then she opens her mouth to make good on her threat as he's spelling Robert, but Harvey muzzles her.
The Groves are great. Now, them getting half credited took it away from me, but I was going to kind of put them in the grouping with the Reverend and his wife last week,
Yeah.
and that couple with the big teeth a few weeks ago as like non-credited couples.
It's a great description of those.
But these guys are the best like ancillary couple that we've had.
Oh, you know what's funny is I think you should always have like 2 characters on every when I say that, I mean she had such a distinct voice. You should always have like a peanut gallery sort of
Well, and plus that storyline needed something because it was just a lot of Jim Neighbors talking about the same thing over and over again. I get what they were going for, but good Lord.
So now we're down to that camera shot when the boat is leaving dock. And the thing is it a thing now that guest stars get their own camera shots when the boat is leaving? Because I saw almost everyone get one.
This at least felt like, okay, we've met them all, and now, we're getting this. It didn't feel as tacked on as last week with Bill Bixby, but it definitely was like
They spread the wealth a little more this episode.
yeah, it definitely. But again, it's like we understand how boats work. We know you're on it.
Sort of. Yeah.
I also don't know who you're waving to. Are you just out there? Like Jim Neighbors did not have a friend. It turns out he's an international jewel thief. He probably doesn't have people that dropped him off.
Yeah, but you make a really good point. If you're checking into a ship, and I'm sure it's like a plane in the sense that say, okay, well, we're departing at, let's just go with like 3 p.m.
Sure.
Please be here. It's the 70s, so there's no security. Be here 6 minutes before we leave.
Right. Maybe so have a name.
Maybe. You don't no ID. You don't even need a pen. Just show up 6 minutes prior. It's not like they're like either leaving or coming to America as immigrants.
Yeah, it's not Ellis Island. Yeah.
Right. It's not some grand event that a celebration is necessary. It's I could see coming home. Oh, we missed you, but It's a
Right.
bit much.
I'm
No
getting
one's
a
welcomed
ride
me
because I don't
home
want to
like
pay
that.
for I don't want to pay for dock parking. No, that makes sense. Do you think there are like cruise groupies that are just really into boats setting sail?
You know, I can partially answer that question. Uh, in the area near where I live has a lot of Navy ships, aircraft carriers that, meaning Navy ships with a lot of people, and they do these like 6 month, I think, rotations. Let me tell you something. If you're there the day that ship comes back, you would think that there were ship groupies because these people are dressed crazy because they haven't seen their significant other, boyfriend, wife, whatever, for 6 months.
Okay, 6 months makes sense. 6 months coming in makes sense.
Exactly. These guys are what? How long?
Th-
How long is the cruise? Like
Well,
4
10
days?
days. They seem to
10,
always
10 days?
indicate 10 days. First of all, that's coming in. We haven't seen one of these shots coming in.
No,
It's
no.
always going out. And the other thing is too, it's like if you did get a ride to the airport, fine, maybe somebody stays behind. But it's like
Are they staying behind to throw paper? Not to mention
how
who's
how
cleaning up
often are
all the
you getting a
paper in the
ride?
ocean?
How often are you getting a ride to the airport? I would take an Uber. Like, is my Uber driver waiting for me to wave goodbye on the boat?
Well, plus, if you can park right in front of the ship, just like JJ did,
Yeah, but this
like the
week
other
you
people
couldn't.
did, this
This
week you
week you
couldn't.
couldn't.
You couldn't.
The
You could.
fascinating thing
Roxy
now as we
Blue
get
had it
further
all.
on is I need to like go back and like track hard truths for each week because I don't think they're consistent. This week was a lot of different bar hours
Yeah.
that were
Yeah.
not consistent.
Well,
So
if Roxy Blue is such a big star, then why did she have a longer walk to get on the boat than JJ did?
well, again, I wonder if she wasn't on Julie's list.
Or she didn't be recognized.
They didn't even bother coming up with like a fake name, like Bloxy Rue or something. Like it was just, but like, so is this another one of those that she just decided last minute, which I guess makes sense because she was booked for Bob Hope.
Well, she's got cash. Maybe it
No, that's
wasn't last.
fine.
Maybe it's
Well,
something she already
prepay. You got to
planned.
prepay on this thing,
Or maybe that's why she said no to Bob Hope. She was like, I need a vacation.
which is
Consistent
fine.
with
They didn't
what
really
she
hit
told.
that. They didn't hit
Well,
that hard enough, though.
I
I
mean,
didn't
no,
think.
I agree. Well, at the end, it kind of got weird, and it made me think that's what was going on. But yeah, just those crazy white dudes suits. Like she just told him I
That
need a
was supposed to
vacation.
connotate a lot more than I think it did.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. After the ship sets sail, Roxy sachets. I wrote the word sachets. I don't think it's the first time I've ever written that. Into the lounge. What does she order?
Kahlua on the rocks.
Mm,
Weird choice.
that doesn't sound good. I like
I've
a
never
little.
heard of Kahlua without cream.
I've only had Kahlua in my coffee. I like a
Yeah.
little Kahlua in the coffee,
Yeah.
especially have the pumpkin spice Kahlua, the vanilla cream Kahlua.
Right.
But this
But
is
like
strict.
as a
doesn't.
straight, yeah.
It's thick. Like that. That's a thick.
Well, I thought
That
the
just
interesting
doesn't
thing
sound
was
good.
about this whole event is Stubing announces this that it's a midnight buffet. So it's let's just pretend it's October. So
Okay.
it's still not daylight savings. The boat leaves in the sun. So at the latest, October, I don't know what California's sun is different, but let's say it's like 6 o'clock at the earliest.
Sounds about right. Sun should be going down right around then.
Are they not eating till midnight? Or is this like an extra thing?
I bet you it's like an extra thing.
Because nobody's at the bar at midnight. After every other episode of this show, people are just getting bombed.
Yeah.
Constantly, all hours of the
Dancing.
day. And now
Sure.
it's midnight on the first night. There's got to be nervous passengers. Why is Denise not down there?
Maybe she's too nervous to be down there.
I think
It's one of
Isaac
those.
locked.
She's
I think
maybe she's.
Isaac locked the doors so no one else could come into the bar.
Oh, he could creep on.
Roxy
Maybe
Blue.
Roxy Blue. So she orders the drink. I just got to say this. I really like Isaac after the
Because he was as smooth as you would have been in this situation. Isaac rallies, and it worked.
That's funny.
But That was some of the worst game I've ever seen. And you're a bartender, dude. Come on.
It changed my the way that I thought about him,
Yeah.
because I always thought it was like, oh, smooth Isaac. He's probably, got so many late. Isaac is not smooth. And that's why I liked him. I was like, oh, okay. He's not that different from Gopher
No.
in the sense that they seem both like innocent dudes. And Isaac doesn't even seem like he drinks that much.
The
He's-
only thing I can think, because this is really the first Isaac episode, is this like his origin story, and now he's just going to be,
oh, now he's just gonna be a pig.
right? And it's like that thing where he
This is what
he's
Roxy
like-
Blue broke him.
right, he's like Breaking Bad, yeah,
He's gonna
because
be
it's
putting up
bad. It's bad.
numbers. Oh, it's bad. The things that it was bad. Like, I'm just glad he had that springy thing that he works out with, that he pulls, that he has that in his room, so he had that hanging up on the towel rack next to his bed for some reason. I bet you he does karate in there too. But anyway, I like Isaac. So Roxy asked for that drink again. Kalu on the rocks. Oof. He's all excited. He admits to being frustrated in the presence of music royalty. Ask her to repeat her drink order. He's a mess. Isaac's a mess. He's either the worst bartender ever, or he's just a mess. I think he's just a mess right now. He responds to chattering about how he owns every record she ever made, loves her music, so excited that he just can't hide it. He said those words.
He's about to lose control.
I think I like it.
Mhm.
When she chuckles at his fawn-like devotion, and you know what? She knew what she was getting with him.
Yes.
So
Right, this was a very
it was
female-forward, positive storyline that, for that time, I'm impressed that they didn't just make that a guy with Julie, because Roxy knew what she wanted and took what she wanted, and then was done with Isaac, and it was like, good for her.
I feel like the episode should have been, their story should have been called Roxy Blue Gets Her Groove Back, or something to that effect.
Or Roxy
Because
Blue
essentially-
does what she does on vacation. Spit him up, chew him out.
Either way, just bye, see ya,
Yep.
like a butterfly. Woo. He tells her he'd really, really like to see her during the cruise, which I thought was a ballsy move, considering how bad he is at this sort of
Well, it's not just
flirting
that.
attempt.
It's not just that. It's like, this is always why you don't hit on bartenders, right? Because if it's a bar you go to and you get shot down, now it's awkward. But the reverse, no, I don't think Roxy Blue cares, right? She'll just run through life. She doesn't have to worry about this. But like, if a bartender hits on you and you turn him down, I'm not drinking that stuff that he's pouring me now.
No, that's a good point.
So
She was kind of forced. Isaac sort of strong-armed her.
you think he was all just a ploy?
No, he's writing stuff on napkins. You don't see it on the camera. It's stuff like, it's going to be a long 10 days, Roxy Blue. Gives out a room number. Just all sorts of creepy. No, I'm not going to do that to Isaac. I like Isaac.
No, Isaac. Yeah.
I do think it's a little weird that it went from, I'm a big fan, I'm a big fan, I'm a big fan, to, I want to spend some time with you. I've met like a couple like musicians that I'm a fan of. I didn't want to hang out with them. I just wanted to, hey, great show. I really like this album. But I don't know why it went from, I'm such a big fan, to, I'd really like to spend some time with you on this.
Yeah, but to be fair, that could have been your favorite
Just-
thing, a cup of coffee. That could have been one of those things. It was Roxy Blue who was like, come to my room for one drink.
I see. So it was more just a shot to kind of hang out and
I think he would have
FaceTime.
taken literally any interaction in the 10 days. And Roxy Blue was like, well, you'll do. There is
what happened.
there is a litter
Mhm.
of brokenhearted bartenders across the seas of this nation, courtesy Roxy Blue.
Roxy Blue.
Yep.
She's knocked out every cruise ship. She's going in alphabetical order.
Remember
She's on
last week when
P.
you were like, "Oh, there's that one with the London." That she took out some British Isaac.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good call. Nice callback. Roxy mulls it over and invites him to stop by her suite. You're absolutely right. After his shift for one drink, but to keep it to himself because she's trying to keep a low profile and doesn't want anyone to know she's on the ship.
They didn't do a good enough job of that.
No.
Because we find out that Steubing is like into
Just
her, and
goes to
Julie's at
pieces.
least looking for her, and all she does is kind of put sunglasses on. If she's as big a star as they're making her out to be, this shouldn't have been such a Where's Waldo situation.
She's using the classic Superman Clark Kent disguise.
Like,
Glasses.
give me a hat. Give me something.
And you got a bunch of older people. No offense, that may be a little nosier. People are going to be looking.
Yeah, they're all friggin' chasing Gomer Pyle down.
Right, because he talks about liver and onion. Well, they've got some issues with that. And that was the end. So the next scene's up. Short jacket. Don't forget it. I love it.
I knew you were gonna. There was a lot of short jacket action this week.
A lot of short jacket. Here we go. Robert runs into Captain Steubing, and he's talking to him about how the word aloha means hello and goodbye in Hawaii. And then I had a thought. See, I had my original notes, and then I read this, and I was like, wait a minute. Bear with me here. If I'm a jewel thief, okay, and I'm going to be on a cruise, wouldn't you just like shut up and not draw attention to yourself in any way instead of rambling on about spelling your name and causing a scene? Wouldn't you just get your room and just go to your room and just stay in your room and shut it and
so I think
lay low?
I think it's one of two things, because you're right. So either he's trying to throw them off the scent by being this annoying rube, drawing them in, giving the confusion. Like the last person anybody thinks is a jewel thief on this boat at the beginning of the trip and at the end of the trip is him.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason it even becomes a thing is the newspaper article.
Which they never showed us the picture. I wish they would have like zoomed in on the photo, because they're like, oh, it looks like him, but his face is like partially obscured.
So it's either that, and he's able to hide in plain sight, gain their confidence or gain their apathy, whatever. Or he's just like an idiot savant who literally is this guy, but also is awesome at stealing jewels.
He's counting like toothpicks when they fall on the ground, kind of thing.
He's it's like a Rain Man situation. Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
I think it's one of the two. Because you're right. Otherwise, it's like
it makes sense.
But you have to. You can't sneak around on a boat for 10 days and steal people's jewels, right? I mean, probably.
I don't know, maybe. I mean, I would think he'd have to wait till the last day at least.
Well, that's what he did.
But he only got them. But we don't know that because we don't know what happened with everyone else.
Yeah.
Because it was like, well, he did it to her, but like, did she deserve it? Because she was following him around. Like, would he have done that to her if I don't know if he would have done that to her had she not sort of
maybe
been kind of crappy to him.
Maybe the whole thing was a target. We don't know a lot about the Groves except their massive age difference.
It was quite an age difference.
30
quite
years.
An age difference. 30
years.
Somebody's going to jail.
30
Somebody's
years.
going to jail.
That guy was born in 1909. Ooh. That's why he was in 10 million radio programs. Jesus. He was there when Marconi invented it.
Yeah, cars were new. Like the wheel. What is this? Tires. They didn't even have tires back then. Friend Isaac arrives at Roxy's suite, clutching a bottle of Kahlua and an ice bucket, dressed in a matching leather jacket and pants. That outfit.
Yeah.
And he must have been making those leather noise, like walking down the hall.
She wants a whole bottle of Kahlua. That's like getting a whole bottle of vermouth.
But she went there for one drink, and he brought a bottle of.
Right. It's like, this is the only thing I know about you.
Who's going to be like, "Oh, give me another Kahlua." Like,
I mean, it worked. Like we can't give him crap. It worked.
Well, it almost didn't work. Because he only waited like 15 seconds when she didn't answer the door. He started to walk away.
It's a boat. That? Where are you going, Isaac?
Where are you gonna like hide so it's not awkward? You work here. You have 15 seconds.
Sit down on the door until she opens.
his mentality and his lack of game means that is not a realistic thing. He would have stood there for an hour.
Yeah.
There's no way he's walking away after 15 seconds.
No.
It was a little off of the. So she answers the door wearing a t-shirt that says Stevie Wonder loves you. I thought that was funny. Invites him in to chit chat and listen to some music. And then she does sort of make fun of his leather suit, which was funny to me.
Now, you know what music she invited him to listen to?
Was it jazz?
With some Ray Charles tapes.
Oh, Ray Charles.
Roxy Blue likes the blind singers.
Bet you she had some like super secret like bootlegs. You know, I got some unreleased stuff.
I think she's got some who's saying Jose Feliciano, Roy Orbison, all the blind greats.
All the greats. I like it. I like it. Okay, there we go. Bert enlists Gopher to take candid photos of his wife so he can surprise her with them at her birthday party.
And the boat doesn't have a photographer?
And so then I was like, what does a purser do? What is his job? How does he have time to do all this stuff? And then I thought, like, this lady's paranoid, but it just seems like maybe there's a history of shadiness by the husband for this woman to be such a nervous Nelly and so distrusting. And the combination of that and this guy just making up lies without even just boom, I got that, you know.
And what was camera technology in 1977? Is that pre-Polaroid?
You push a button? Yeah. Well, I don't know. Is it pre-Polaroid?
I can't wait for him to have the like camera with
the big
hood and the like, yeah. But like that was like an old timey camera, right? Didn't Polaroids not exist in 1977?
I don't know. It's not like he had some complex camera. He had a square camera like they had with the square little flash cube on top. It's just
also
wind.
Bert, listen, I know it's different times and everything, but man, my house had photo albums growing up. Get 2 or 3 photos, bring them to the trip. Let Gopher blow them up. You're gonna at the very least you're gonna rise suspicion, to your point, to a very suspicious person.
I just think it's funny how this guy's like, I want to throw a party for my wife. And they're like, great. What do you have? Well, I need you to take pictures. What'd you get for a gift? I need you to get this. And I need you, like, I need. He's too busy cheating on his wife, is what it is. I'm just going to say it. He's cheating on his wife.
Huge thing over here.
And now it's about to blow up. And he's like, oh, snap. I got to throw a party for her, old net, just to get her off my trail.
Well, here's the other thing. You don't know anybody else in this boat.
Right. Why would you have a party there?
Party, it's just the two of you. Like
an audience of one. That's why it's all
bullshit. To your point, the cruise should have been the surprise because it would have eliminated
what more do you need?
All the anxiety. And then, you have the cake and all that stuff. But like this party, they never really said what the party was going to be. And it wouldn't have been good.
Maybe he really was going to kill her. I don't know, but it's weird.
He's like a quick plan B.
Yeah, look at all these pictures I want to display of you that I just had taken today. Like,
yeah,
what?
That is
and
weird.
The message on the cake, the whole. We'll get there. Got a lot to talk about. Just as Denise appears and then looks alarmed when Gopher starts trailing after her. Again, what the hell is Gopher doing? What does a purser do? Because I don't know what he's doing.
I mean, he said he's not a boat detective.
He wants to be a boat detective, though.
I'd watch Gopher. I'd watch Burl Smith, boat detective.
I like that. I forgot about that weird name. Next morning, Roxy stops by the bar, orders a cup of coffee from Isaac.
Well, it ain't morning; it's noon.
Well, for Roxy, that's about as morning as it gets.
Jesus, Isaac.
Well, you know.
Also, rough shift. He just finished at 1. He's back in.
How is he back?
Noon?
How is he?
Because they have nobody on this boat.
He's the only bartender on the entire boat. Now the two are grinning stupidly at each other. I didn't know how else to describe it. And Julie rushes in and asks Isaac if he's seen Roxy Blue. Roxy's hiding behind a magazine. Isaac's playing dumb, says he hasn't seen her. Julie says to keep an eye out for her because Captain Stubing.
Julie's too good. Julie is too good at her job to not
She would
find
know.
Roxy Blue. Yeah,
She would know.
I don't think she knows what Roxy Blue looks like.
I don't even think she knows what a Roxy Blue is.
No, I think Julie is into what else is like she's into like Kiss. She's part of the Kiss army.
Like Skinnerd.
She's
she
got
didn't have
no
time for that
idea.
crap.
Yeah.
She probably thought one of those white guys in suits is Roxy Blue. She's looking for that guy.
So Julie's just trying to get a minute. I don't know
Uh-huh.
why. She's having such a rough day. And then this guy rolls in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Again, the bar is completely empty because Isaac clearly has locked the doors. And he's like, hey, where's the shuffleboard tournament? Dude, there's got to be a bulletin board somewhere.
With her, her corns or whatever, her bunions.
Right.
She should have been like, F off. Go. It's out there.
If I walked into a room and two of the three people in there were staff, I would be like, you know what? This probably isn't for me. I'll find the shuffleboard tournament myself. Also, you ain't dressed for a shuffleboard tournament there, guy. Like,
aren't you doing the man, the same favor by just saying it's on the Lido deck. Go this way and aft. And send him on his way. Because she'll send guests upstairs and aft. But I guess they wanted to they just had to do something to create space for.
I wonder if that's code. I wonder if that's boat code.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Where's the shuffle? Maybe where's the shuffleboard means.
Because here's the thing. Julie is in a different outfit in every scene in this show. There's like 9 outfit changes for her. So who knows? Maybe she was playing shuffleboard all week.
Maybe she was on multiple shuffleboard teams and she had to wear a different uniform in order to participate in each individual team.
There were a lot of bold colors.
It gets confusing with so many people holding sticks with the letter U at the end of it. Very confusing. And then also about this whole dinner thing with Roxy Blue, I really, really think that all the captain does is have dinner with people. He sleeps all day, gets up in the afternoon, puts on his short coat, goes to dinner. Honestly,
I mean,
it was funny, but it's not even funny anymore.
No.
He's not the captain. I think his name is Captain.
This episode does nothing to dissuade those thoughts because later on it's 3 a.m. Everyone else is in their pajamas and he's still in his short jacket.
He's on his 4th dinner of the night. He just works them in shifts. He's just and it's funny how he just goes to pieces around Roxy Blue. He just melts. And I'm like, come on, man. Damn it. Be a captain. Where's that captain? Where's that Captain Steubing from episode 1?
It was like a different bad version of him not being.
Yes.
We need a word for, is it captainly? We need a word that's like presidential. Yeah. Is it captainly? Yeah, he wasn't being captainly in this one.
Like you don't, where's that captain swagger? Like that just captainness. Yeah, it just was. Anyway, we're back to Bert. Bert's to get, this scene is so shady. They're sitting at a bar together. Like what? Not even in like
drinking?
I think so.
Drinking? She's got a wine glass in front of her.
She did get kicked off the show, but we're not there yet.
I will not have you
start looking.
I'm already upset to live in a post Julie world.
Well, I think they brought in the captain's daughter, so don't worry.
I'm just saying. I'm so team.
I don't want to live in a Julie list. She's great.
Nope. No, I may leave the show when Julie leaves the show.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Bert gets together with Julie again in a bar to tell her he'd planned to give his wife a bracelet for her birthday, but that idea got pooched when
to your point, he didn't bring anything.
He brought nothing. He brought nothing with him. Nothing.
Maybe he was going to murder her.
Something. He brought nothing. He had to make a cake. He didn't have a gift. He had no photo. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. Really? You're worried about measuring a neck? You don't give 2 craps, buddy. He was trying to kill her with that bathrobe thing. This whole thing was setting it up. She was right. And like later that Julie offers to accompany him to the gift shop and help him pick something out for Denise. And he says that'd be a good idea if Denise weren't always lurking around. I bet you that's not the first time he said that to a lady outside of his marriage. I don't like this guy. I'm telling you, Bert is a serial cheater. Cue Denise, who enters the lounge and spots the two of them talking. She tiptoes over just in time to overhear Julie's joke to Bert. Wasn't really a joke. It says, "We'll just have to get rid of her." Heard obviously out of context. After Julie ambles off, Denise confronts Bert
But that was the
about what.
only.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say they did a good job of not like being so ridiculous out of context stuff.
Oh, it wasn't like a
Like
caricature
everything
of.
was pseudo logical that they would say it,
It
or it
worked.
would
It
be a
worked.
misunderstanding, but like there weren't too many stretches.
Mm, I agree with you on that. And it's funny how they do at the end when they all have all the things and they explain it.
Yeah.
That was a little more comical to me than the individual occurrences that happened.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
fine with it when they
But it
bunched them all
wasn't
together. I was like, it could have been way
it
worse.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, good thing we don't have more crew members because then it would have been, it would have totally lost it.
But I will say this, and I think some of it comes up now. Well, it's a little bit later, but
Yeah.
they clearly have gotten some sort of hiring freeze lifted because last week they hired Charo, and this week I counted at least 4 additional staff members,
Same here.
including 2 that have speaking roles.
Yeah, the chef.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
Did the skeet guy get a word in, or did he just throw the skeets?
I don't know if he got a word in.
Okay. But anyway, we had at least 4 guys this week.
He might have, because I remember him saying like something like, he's like, "That's all you have to do," or something, and he was like, "Yeah, that's it," or something,
something
when
like
he was
that,
explaining it to the.
So the princess lines have come into a windfall. Maybe it's some of that TPP money or something like that.
It's
But
all
it's
that
like,
money.
yeah.
What else does the guy who works the skeet machine do?
Like all
Like,
day?
is he like the armorer? Does he take care of all the guns, do you think? Or is there another guy for that and he just
I wonder if
manages the skeet?
I don't even think it was the same guy as the last skeet.
I don't think it was either. I don't think it was.
There's not a lot of cross training going on in this boat. Because the other guy that I noticed that didn't have a speaking role, I think it's around the same time as the skeet. There is somebody serving probably screwdrivers on a tray, kind of in the background. And it's like, okay, so they got Isaac some help, probably because he's out, schlupping Roxy Blue the whole time.
Well, he's exhausted from being up all night with Roxy Blue.
But so they definitely appear to be staffing the boat a little better, which is good. Does not explain.
Well, it
does
just
not
makes
explain the security breach at the end of the night where there's not a cop in sight, but
which is amazing. Amazing. After Julie walks away, Denise confronts Bert about what she can only assume is his plot to do away with her and screeches, "I am not giving you a divorce before start," and then she storms out.
Hilarious.
Which, here we go. We're starting to see she's a little lunatic. The cracks are forming. Here's where inside her suite, Denise stares at herself in the mirror, tells her reflection that she should have known Bert was up to something sinister, then bitterly laughs about how wives are always the last to know. Give her the damn Emmy right now for what she's doing. Like, nobody expected this level of
she's really good
acting. Like, she was
really
it was like
good.
A little soliloquy. It was really good.
But it's really good, and it's like the balance between crazy,
silly,
but it could have been like so over the top bad.
Well, I think I agree. I think that her sort of buying into that character really sold that. I don't want to say, sort of just the emotional roller coaster that she was, based on her nervousness. And then when she has that moment alone, it was just interesting because I don't even think she probably didn't even have to work that hard to kind of sell this role.
Right.
And the fact that you could tell she was in it, it was kind of cool to see.
Well, I think it also helps too that Bert is very understated. You know, so it's
Scumbag.
like
Yeah.
it was just really well crafted. I thought the
It
whole
really
thing was
was.
well crafted
It really would you
because
say
this is
best?
also the first time when she's doing the mirror soliloquy. This is also the first time they start using the musical cues, like the ominous music,
Mhm.
and it's just like I think it's the best like crafted piece of business we've had out of the 15
Definitely.
storylines or whatever. Just
I
excellent. Like I would
I
have watched
completely agree.
a whole show of just this. That was good.
Oh, they could have run with that easily
Longer. Yeah.
much longer.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Um, she grabs a tissue, the phone rings, and it's Gopher, and he mistakes her sniffly voice for that of Bert. I listened to those voices back to back. That is a lie.
Little bit of a stretch. Yeah.
He's like, huh? That's
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah.
I've heard my wife blow her nose, and it doesn't change her voice several octaves. It just doesn't.
Gopher's just not great on the phone. He's kind of O for
He's
Gopher on the
just he
phone.
can't. He's not. Yeah, he's not. He reports that he hasn't been able to get a clean shot of his wife, and suggests he do it himself so he can blow her up.
Yep. All real
She
things though.
all real things.
Yeah.
She gasped at the threat of being blown up. Sorry, it just
As
sounds
one does.
ridiculous. As one does. So she's in fear of being blown up at any point now. This nervous woman thinks she's going to be blown up. That's just so funny to me. Like, what? How,
Crew's ruined. Crew's ruined already.
how about all you got to do if you're thinking of be blown up? Just lock the door. Just lock the door. That's
But
it.
what if there's
Somebody in the bathroom?
what if they booby trapped your bed?
She's living in a world full of paranoia. It's fantastic. You couldn't keep the storyline going for 45. She would have jumped overboard. Like
Yeah.
she would have been like, there's no way.
Yep.
And it wouldn't have been that floating hat that didn't belong to anybody from last episode. It would have been legit. Robert enters the lounge. Don't forget Robert. Seats himself with Harvey and Myra Grove and proceeds to ramble on about how he orders liver and onions for dinner only to change his dinner order. I was so
Yeah. They had to
I needed a nap after this storyline. It was
I mean, I
just
guess that's what they were going for, but they could have dressed it up a little bit.
what they had a meeting at a table going, here's what we're going to do. We're going to lull the audience to sleep.
100%.
96%. It is true.
Hold
It
on.
is true.
It fooled me at the end.
It did fool
I
me.
didn't expect it.
It did fool me.
They got me.
Again, I just go back to if you're a jewel thief, why don't you just shut up? Stay in your room. You're on the lam, but
I mean, he stole
Jim Nabors.
$90,000 worth of jewels. I think he knows more than you do about jewel thieving.
You know what? You're right. I should defer to.
Yeah.
I wonder 90,077. Who knows that math? But that's a lot of money.
92,000 today.
Cha-ching. Couple's eyes glaze over. Robert said he's noticed that whenever he starts talking to people on the ship, they suddenly complain of queasiness and they rush off.
Yeah, me too.
Harvey and Myra perk up, complain of a case of sudden fake queasiness, and they rush off. And I made this note. This storyline is a bit of a snooze fest, but they always seem to have one. And I'm writing these notes as I'm watching it,
Right.
too. So I said that they always seem to have one solid plot line and then one awful plot line.
Yeah.
So at this point, when I'm watching it, I'm thinking,
This is the bad one.
is this what they're doing with Jim Nabors? Like, what? It's just.
It would have been interesting to see Jim Nabors like in an actual acting role.
Yeah, because I feel like he was just playing Jim Nabors.
Yeah. Yeah. Because later on, he does the Jimmy Walker almost saying dynamite.
He says,
He almost
golly.
says golly, but he went like, gall. So it's
Well, didn't he just always seem to play? I wonder what Jim Nabors is like not in character, because
Right.
the Gomer Pyle character, he appeared on a radio show, and that's where Andy Griffith he found him or discovered him.
Yeah.
But I wonder if Jim Nabors, like, okay, the cameras are off. Does he talk like Gomer Pyle?
I mean, I need to see some evidence that he's able to do otherwise.
I mean, he
It would have been
doesn't
cool if
sing
like the
Gomer
last
Pyle.
minute would have been him
him
being the real
without.
jewel thief, you know.
Or like they catch him, just like the Scooby-Doo thing, they take the
Yeah.
mask off and you get to hear the real Jim Neighbors
Or when
voice.
they do the voiceover, at least, you know.
Curious. Very curious. Roxy whines to Isaac about how her successful music career has made her a conglomerate. She loves that word conglomerate. But she's also a human being that desperately needs a break. Again, to your point, she was just out for hers in this whole thing. Isaac
Good for
just
her.
was just the guy that was there. She needs a break. He stares at her and reminds her that she walked out on Bob Hope. She waved
Again
her
with the
hand
Bob Hope stuff.
again with the
too.
Bob Hope. So they never really defined it, but they love to go back to it. I wonder if there was something there. I wonder if like she just didn't like Bob. Like what was
Oh,
the
do you think
point
maybe
of?
Bob Hope was supposed to be on and he ditched him?
I mean, I don't know, but why keep bringing up Bob Hope? I don't think there's a connection between Diane Carroll and Bob Hope.
Was Bob Hope a notorious like, you know, knee breaker if you crossed him?
I don't know. I mean, as soon as he appears on the ship, we'll find out. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I just thought it was odd. Like, why do they keep bringing?
Like
What
if
a
Roxy Blue's
random.
car had exploded when she left.
Well, why couldn't they just say like your manager or something, or this TV executive? But instead to say Bob Hope,
I
like
think it
bring
was
him up 4 or
shorthand
5 times.
for everybody knows the Bob Hope specials and being on them is a big deal. And by bailing on it, you're gonna piss off the wrong people, I guess.
She didn't care. She's
Nope.
Roxy effing Blue.
No, they can get Donnie and Marie. Donnie and Marie catching a stray.
Yeah, that's another. She had a list. She was going to go through. Well, she checked both Bob Hope and the Donnie and Marie off of her list, and she
Yep.
checked Isaac off her list. But boom.
Yeah. So Isaac clearly like has gotten comfortable now.
Wait, she invites him
So-
to come on in for a smooch.
So I guess he's a boyfriend guy or a girlfriend guy. You know, it's like so he's not good at the flirting.
No, he's not.
He's a relationship guy. Good
He's a
for Isaac.
relationship guy.
That's
Good for
okay.
him breaking that. For now, until he gets
Well,
the
that's the
next.
thing. It's like
He's going to change.
It's like mice and men. It's all right to pet those puppies, but you don't.
That's funny. Bird is getting a lesson on skeet shooting. More skeet shooting, because
Yep.
why not have the most dangerous pastime on a
most dangerous game?
it's just so. And Denise ambles across the deck one level below with a very non-subtle gopher in pursuit with his camera. It was just slapstick. Bert spots Denise and yells hello at her while holding the rifle in his hand. Hey, Denise, she's got every reason
Oh,
to be
100%.
nervous. This guy's a serial cheater. She heard all these things. He's gonna blow her up. I guess he's gonna shoot her. Then he's gonna blow her up, and then no time. So and also, where's the gun safety? And I say gun safety. Look, I've been to gun ranges. You're not allowed. You don't. That no. And it's not just a human safety issue. It's an insurance issue.
Yeah, it is. It is 2 episodes of skeet shooting, complete with 2 times that the husband has waved a gun around at his spouse. So,
well, I just think that Kahlua on the rocks and live ammunition shouldn't mix. It's just not a good idea. Yeah.
Well, you know what they say: sun, fun, and rum. They should have put gun in there too.
It works. It works. Gopher falls in the pool while taking pictures. My notes were, what does Gopher do? How does he have time to take pictures? Nobody is working. The captain isn't steering. We've seen Isaac serve 1 drink and 1 cup of coffee. Julie is the only person working on this boat.
That's
which
true.
We've said all along.
That's true. Well, to be fair, because first of all, if you're ever going to go to commercial, have Gopher fall in the water. Perfect.
Oh, it's a great break. It's a great break.
Then they come back, and the only person that doesn't have anything to do in this episode finally gets to work. Adam Bricker, hot off his, sexy performance last week.
Charo, yeah, shirtless.
Gets like 0 activity in this show. He is barely in this thing. But Denise runs over and, kind of is like, everybody's trying to kill me, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's in on it. And he, of course, right away, pills. That's
Well,
the
he went to get
doctor's
her a.
prescription every time.
This will solve your problems. Here's a mild sedative.
Yep,
I just happen to have.
that's it. That's that.
Whatever. He's
Except
so
for I think
ready.
one other line. That's it for Doc this week. They did not capitalize on his shirtless performance from last week.
Not a lot of consistency. Not a lot of consistency.
I
You
think
could have
it's that
thrown
thing.
Doc in here.
It's that old TV sitcom thing you used to hear about, which is like they would have a big board and it would be like, we want to get 2 episodes a season about this guy, and that like
I
we're
see.
probably due a go for one here in the next 1 or 2.
Oh, I would, yeah, because we got the Julie one, we got the Captain one, we got
Yeah.
the Isaac one.
But they can
maybe
probably
a bigger,
spread it around. Yeah.
maybe a bigger Doc one. I think we have a bigger Doc one.
I think last week was a big Doc one.
Well, we're due that scene with the pajamas where he's got the pants and then the woman's got the pajama shirt.
You're a big Doc guy, so that
I'm a
makes
big
sense.
Doc guy. Steubing spots Robert again standing by himself, orders Julian Gopher. This is weird, to make sure every passenger, Robert included, is having a good time on the cruise.
Yeah.
What are you peddling, Captain Steubing?
Again, he's the maitre d'. He's the hostess of this boat.
It's not a brothel. Like, what are you talking about? Make sure everyone has a great. Again, all he cares about is dinner and people looking like they're having fun. He doesn't give 2 craps about anything.
He's like a front.
He's like a greeter at Walmart. He doesn't do anything but wear a short jacket. And at least, Walmart people wear their vest. It's enraging. It's enraging. I want to go
when
up
people
and
have fun if the boat moves and arrives on time.
Yeah.
How's that doing?
How about you take just a look at that? Hey, maybe we come take a peek with you. How about that? Julie complains that she's running out of passengers who are willing to have dinner with a guy. Gopher asks 3 random people if they'd like to eat with Robert Tanner, Tanner. They react by staring at him in horror before leaping into the pool.
Yep,
it made me laugh. It made me giggle.
That was funny. I thought that was good.
And I just
They're getting a lot of use out of that pool set.
They really are. They went twice. Great commercial break too on that one. I just wrote Robert Tanner stinks, because at this point I don't know anything about Jules or anything. I'm like, this guy's the worst.
It's fair that to think that they would not be landing the plane and that the whole thing would just be this thing.
I'm all in on the Robert Tanner storyline because it's supposed to stink.
Right.
Like, I think it's intentional, like you said.
The other thing, because I know we're always obsessed with figuring out what these people do on the boat. Julie mentioned when she was talking about Robert Tanner that she had to assign people to his table.
Yeah.
So is that another part of the cruise life? Like that you actually get table assignments? That is.
Well, I think it's part of the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is that the cruise revolves around the captain having dinner with everybody until 3 a.m. So those table assignments are crucial, because he makes her do that to make sure he gets to have dinner with
everybody.
You can't just throw that against a wall. You got to schedule.
That's why it's all making sense now. That when he does the thing in a couple episodes ago where he's like, I know everybody on this boat, it's because he's had dinner with all of them.
Right. Well, just like the first episode, she was like, you chose the sea. He didn't choose the sea. He chose having dinner with hundreds of people over a 10-day period of time over and over and over again.
But to your point now, previously, they need a bigger captain's table. It would be a lot more efficient to have 12 people than 7.
Like 7 people at a table. It's ridiculous. It's no 6.
He's got the time. This is why you have those midnight buffets.
Yeah, it's why you don't have time to steer. And he's got more than one short jacket, because that's his pride and joy. Imagine he was just sad and he just started wearing the same white jacket. It's just got.
We already know Milton Berle got wine on it last week.
That's right. So you got to shelve that. I just assume it's like Spider-Man. He just has like all these uniforms in his closet.
Yeah.
With jacket, socks. Shorts. Yeah. Myra and Harvey are lounging above deck when Myra comes across an article in the newspaper about an international jewel thief who's currently at large. The scoundrel's name is Roscoe Toller, which, as Myra points out, has the same initials as Robert Tanner. Oh, yeah. Lock him up for that. Lock him up for having the same initials.
that is that's lazy.
That's just
But my guess is that Roscoe, what was it, Roscoe Tolker?
Roscoe Toller.
Okay, Gomer only has like all his luggage is embroidered,
He
and
only
so
had
he
so many
had to have an
options.
RT alias.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
I'm fine with it.
Yep,
She leaps to the conclusion that Robert must be the thief and
because he's got
Harvey's
the same hat.
because he has the same hat, and suggests they report their theory to the captain. But then Myra makes a funny statement saying that she's always wanted to be friends with an international jewel thief.
Yeah, so this is where I get lost. So because this is basically now the whole crux of that plot line until the very end. So everybody's nice to him, not because he's a jewel thief and they think it's cool. Is why are they being friends with him? So they have a story to tell later on.
Well, it's just like, some girls want to date the bad boy.
Bad boys.
That's what this whole thing is. And one look at Robert Tanner just screams bad boy.
I mean, Myra Grove has some interesting tastes as it is, since she's married to a 100-year-old man. So,
Well,
but it
this
was
guy's
I never understood why. I understand why you didn't want to turn him in to liven up your boat trip or whatever.
Yeah,
But like,
why wouldn't you go right to the captain?
no, because I mean, then they gotta. It's like
But wouldn't you be worried that your stuff would get
well, I'd put my
stolen?
stuff away.
Right. Okay.
That I agree with.
So you'd put the stuff away, but you wouldn't necessarily
No, because
ring the
like, do they
captain.
have to like pull over to the nearest authorities? Like, is that going to ruin my boat trip?
Oh, meaning they might have to turn back early?
Right. It's like,
Well,
like
okay, but what if there was security on the boat?
but there's
Remember
not.
we talked about where are they going to put him in Doc's
There's
office?
not. There's that one skeet shooter. So
Is he secure? There's not one. They should have one. I mean, even like a Roz-like character from Night Court. Like, give me
we
something.
know there's not, because 20 minutes from now, someone accuses their husband of murder.
Yep.
And
And
there's
nothing.
It's just the boat. It's just the boat crew and the cook.
Yeah, it's great. And they're like, oh, that's ridiculous. And here's why.
Yep.
And he was like, no, for real, I was going to choke you with the bathroom thing. But
yeah, I think as we start to kind of flesh out our questions that maybe will be answered and maybe won't be.
I don't even know who to address.
People going on the boat, still weird.
Yeah.
And then the security. Now that we're starting to have more crew members, you would think that security would be like, just have a guy in the corner. Just have like a big dude. The 70s movies were filled with just like, where's the guy from Strange Brew and Happy Gilmore? That really tall guy.
I'm with you.
Let's put him on there.
Because that, a non-speaking role, just have him in the lobby when people are coming in and maybe in the bar.
You bring him in for a week. You shoot 300 scenes of him standing in a corner and you just drop him in throughout the run of the episodes. Yeah.
Well, you could get just nobody and film all these different shots of different security people just to mix it up.
Randall Tex Cobb or I don't know, Harvey Martin,
the guy that played Ogre in Nerds.
Yeah, just someone from the late 70s, a tall like Swen Nader, like anybody from the 70s.
Put a Phil Volpiano in there. You know what I mean? He would do it. A future owner of a JoJo Players, a wonderful sports bar in rural New Jersey.
Mark the Bird Fidrich, like anybody from the 70s who looked.
Sean Landetta.
Nah,
a young Sean Landetta.
Nobody's running from a punter.
No.
You might as well not even have security.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the Phil Volpiano, which ages me immediately.
Well, it's the 70s.
We all know starting left outside linebackers that played for the Raiders from 75 to 79.
Red Grange. Why isn't Red Grange security on this boat?
Okay. Isaac tells Gopher he's been hanging out with Roxy Blue, which again he wasn't supposed to do. So maybe that's why the Roxy thing blew up. Maybe it's because he broke the rule.
I think this episode did a good job of establishing that these guys are boys.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that did a really good job because at the end, I think Gopher is a real solid friend. So
he says he's kind of the kind of woman that a man would want to marry. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
dude,
This is
whoa.
so once again, so we've seen this, right? Like it's the Love Boat. There's probably some
Right.
weird karmic spell or whatever. But like, dude, you work on this boat. You know
You know what's up.
you can't be falling in love with somebody in like 4 days when you work on this boat. Because guess what? Next week you're gonna be on the damn boat again. And
Right.
she's not.
Roxy
So
Red is going to be on the next one. I mean, there's going to
yeah,
be all sorts of people. He's just,
Isaac just kept coming off kind of like a rube.
he did like very much more innocent than I thought he would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of, maybe that's, I think it's kind of nice.
It can
I
be
think it's
endearing,
nice.
absolutely, but
Yeah.
these are mistakes that it feels like if Isaac was like the new bartender and this was his first run or something like that, but they don't ever mention that.
There's no history of, I
He
wish
had
there was
stars in his
like
eyes.
a,
He's a star effer.
totally is. He totally is. Bert places the order with the chef. I wrote crew member, no name tag though, because I even did the freeze frame to go back to see if I could catch the name tag. Bake a chocolate cake for his wife with this crazy lettering. Again, Bert brought nothing. No cake, no present, no photo, nothing. This guy stinks and he's a serial cheater.
So the boat chef. I'm
mm,
very excited that the boat has a chef.
Me too. I
Um,
mean, it makes sense. You know, the captain works with him. It's all about his
well,
stupid
it's not
dinner.
just that. I mean, for like you said, all these dinners. But like, is the chef different than the pastry chef? Or is it just one guy's doing all this stuff?
You, for that many people, you would think that you would have
More than
a
one guy.
pastry chef. Yeah, I would think so.
Um,
Unless it's like, this guy I want the head guy doing this because I love I love my wife so much because I've gone through so much trouble. He just wants to make it look like he made a big deal when really all he did is like, psst, hey, that's the extent of his birthday planning.
this was the last role that the actor who played the chef was ever in. This is his last credit.
Well, no wonder. I wonder if they were going to have him come back.
He didn't die.
Oh,
He didn't die for like 12 more years.
I
He was
don't know
just
why.
like, you know what? He's like John Elway. I'm leaving on top.
I think I assumed he died because I'm like, well, how would you walk away from the Love Boat like this? You know what I mean? Don't give me that role. I'll be back
Well, I
20,
doubt this is
20,
the
30
only
episodes.
time a chef makes it. So I wonder if this is going to be like the housekeeper.
Maybe in memoriam, they just no more chefs. Like pour a
He
little out for
didn't
this guy.
die. He didn't die till the show ended. He just
But the character,
didn't work anymore.
they should kill off the chef. Ah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. chef.
Nameless
R.I.P. nameless chef.
Nameless chef who they woke up at 3 a.m.
And he had the PJs and the chef's hat. It was great. He's selling that gimmick. I love it. Julie tells me found the perfect gift for Denise, a gold choker. You can see where this is going. She adds, since a choker has to fit snugly, she's going to need to figure out Denise's neck size. And I wrote, do people measure necks? Because I don't know if
Shirt
is it a
collars, I
number,
guess.
but is it a number or is it like a small, medium, large? I've bought like bracelets for my wife, and I don't go, yeah, I need an 11. I go, no, I need a like about this
three-hander.
big. Would you show up with yarn and go, it's about like that? Like,
Yeah, is he showing up with the robe belt?
Like what is going
here,
on?
Julie?
And then why would you have this big old thick robe on the Pacific Princess where you're going to like tropical locations? It's not going to be.
I
Or
mean, do
maybe
you think that he brought it, or do you think that that comes with the room?
No, I'm thinking he's wearing that thick bathrobe because he's jacking up the air conditioning because he's really going to kill her. That's what it's all about. No, I
Wait,
don't.
why
There were some
does the
holes.
cold help the murder?
Well, because you don't want the
Or is
body
he killing
stinking.
her like Demi Moore in St.
Well,
Elmo's
no.
Fire? Is he
Remember,
just freezing her out?
remember last week? Remember we learned if they start serving ice cream,
Right.
somebody died. I'm saying he's got to keep the body cold, or the body's going to
Oh,
start smelling.
gotcha. That makes sense.
That's where I went with it. Yeah, do people measure necks? Then suggests he measures it by slipping his bathroom sash around it while she's asleep.
As one does.
Oh, that's how I got my wife's ring measurement. I waited for her to fall asleep.
Yep.
Well, they have phones. Why didn't you just call her sister?
You think your sister would know? Like,
I don't know. Hey, what's your sister's neck size? Don't tell her I'm asking.
also, we're not doing anything for her birthday this year.
Yeah, no, don't even worry about it. Big changes are coming after 10 days at sea. And then naturally, Denise appears out of nowhere to overhear the out of context part of the conversation. She returns to her suite, blocks the door.
Now, hold on.
Yes, sir.
When she returns to the suite after overhearing the choking, she whips out a key to get into the room.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
So,
wait, a metal key, just a regular
an actual physical key, like
okay.
literally pulls
Well,
it out of her
70s,
purse.
it makes sense, but I didn't know they gave him keys.
So, well, but we saw the exchange. There was no key given.
No key given.
Well, I guess in theory you could leave it in the room, but that doesn't seem safe.
Unless it's every key is the same key.
So I have no idea. I'm more confused now about the entryway.
What a weird detail to add into the episode.
Right.
Without, like, because someone was like, no, you have to open it with a key. But no one went back to go.
They were going for, like, she's nervous, so she's trying to open, which is fine. But, like, give her
inconsistent.
They should, what they should do?
She had a glass of water or something, would have been the same effect.
They should hand them, when they check in with Julie, they should just hand them a bag.
And you can assume.
Don't even bring it up. Just everything's covered in that bag.
Like, is it a brown paper bag? What kind of
bag
is this? Awful greasy.
It's an Arby's sack.
Looks like it's got cannolis in it. It's just greasy and see-through.
It's the brown paper bag that all those porno mags from the first episode came in.
Oh, that's right.
Kitten.
She returns to her suite after this key thing, which I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't notice that. And she blocks the door. She's barricading herself in.
Wrong door.
Except Bert emerges from the bathroom. The killer's already in the room.
There. So Bert friggin' hightailed it.
Yeah, it's shady. He's shady.
Yeah.
She tells him she isn't feeling well. She'd prefer to stay in tonight. And of course, he offers to keep her company so she doesn't spend the evening alone.
Now, Bert is in a tux.
Yeah.
So he obviously thought that they were going to go out. And he
came out of the bathroom fully tuxed up.
Yeah, he's all tuxed up. And he immediately is like, nah, we'll stay in. So he's either.
Well, who puts the finishing touches on a tuxedo in a closed bathroom?
Well, he's either
so weird,
the best husband in the world, or he's murderer. There's no in between.
Unless that was his outfit for after he killed her. And then
no one would suspect the guy in the tuxedo.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go out because a man who just killed his wife wouldn't go out dancing in a tuxedo. I don't know. Is that how you cover your tracks? You just go out dancing?
I feel like the only problem with your theory is that he had ample opportunity to actually kill her once she fell asleep.
Just push her
dropped that giant book on her.
He could have just push her over.
Where the hell did that come from? Who brings
book?
Who brings a George R.R. Martin sized book onto a boat?
Who brings a 48-pound book into a we're back to Robert Tanner. Presumed jewel thief Robert Tanner's holding court at the bar, fascinating a gaggle of jewel thief groupies. And going on about how he orders liver and onions for dinner and changes orders.
Boring.
It's so boring. And then he's trying to lull you to sleep, hide in plain sight. And then other times sticks with liver and onions order. Here we go. Here's the little tell. He admires Myra's necklace. And when he remarks that he doesn't know much about jewelry, everyone chuckles knowingly.
Yep.
By the way, he was having rare roast beef for dinner tomorrow night. That was his big thing. He was working.
I ignored all the food bits.
Yawn. Yawn.
Yeah.
Bert urges Denise to come to bed and says, "You'll be dead in the morning." I have never, ever said that to anybody.
Dead tired. I'm surprised they didn't do the move where she panics and he's like, no, dead tired. They even do that.
I'm just, hey, how about, I just, that one got me. I was like, She stares fearfully into space and says she wants to stay up and finish reading her 47.5 pound book that she
Yeah.
just began.
Giant tome.
So dumb. As Isaac and Roxy, here we go. Here's the turn.
Yep.
As Isaac and Roxy lounge in bed together, which good for you, Isaac. Here we go,
They
Isaac.
screwed it up.
He screws it up. He gushes about how their hookup is the greatest thing to have ever happened to him. Roxy reacts by getting angry at him for being quote unquote sentimental.
Yep.
He insists that he loves her more than he's ever loved anyone in his life. My comment, easy, dude.
Yeah, this
Like,
is not.
whoa.
I don't care if this person's famous or not famous. That's too
It's
soon.
too much.
Yeah.
She gets visibly annoyed and tells him he just blew it.
Yep.
Which she's keeping it real. I mean, she was honest. It is what it is. She snarkishly says she's going to take Captain Steubing up on his offer to dine at his table tomorrow night, then snaps at him to shut off the light.
Yep. The farewell party.
And to shut up about professing his love for her and to do his best to enjoy what's left of their time together.
Yep.
Shut up, Isaac.
Have fun hugging that pillow, Isaac.
Good Lord.
Cold shoulder.
Cold shoulder. Eventually, Denise falls asleep while reading, and Bert takes the opportunity to slip his bathrobe sash around her neck to get an accurate measurement for the gold choker. Denise wakes up in mid-measure, assumes he's trying to kill her, and flees the cabin screaming bloody murder.
Right.
Security. You'd think that they go, hey, if you have an emergency, dial this number on your phone in the room. Just saying, just for a standard.
Instead, we gather this elite crime fighting unit of everybody
like
on the cast
Scooby-Doo
except
episode.
Isaac. And the only reason Isaac's not there is because he's, getting
pouting in a corner, crying in a cup of tea or something lame.
Doc's not happy. Doc is not happy about being up at 3 a.m. They really should have had Doc come down with like a lady of the night.
Or a couple.
Yeah.
Something. He'd just have him in there. Where's Doc? Because he had nothing to do with any of this.
No, he's barely in this episode.
So Captain Steubing has assembled his crew in the dining room at 3 a.m.
Yep.
And is listening to a freaked out Denise describe how convinced she is that Bert and part of the ship's crew are in on a conspiracy to kill her. They all start talking at once, and Captain Steubing tells them all to shut it. And calmly tell him, quote unquote, what in blazes is going on. I wish that would come back into the current speak. Bert explains that he's been planning a birthday party for Denise with as many misunderstandings about his intent. Gopher's trying to shoot her with a camera. And then he was talking about blowing her photograph up, covert interactions with Julie that resulted in Denise spotting them and assuming they were plotting her death. Waving a skeet shooting rifle, which, by the way, is just a rifle. That's on me. Around while yelling hello at his wife. And then finally, wrapping a bathroom sash around Denise's neck, to measure her neck for a gold choker, because that's common. But here's the thing. Julie got the choker without the neck size.
Oh, that's true.
So what the hell, man?
That's true.
You were really trying to kill her. She already got it. What are you trying to measure?
God.
You're trying to kill her. I told you, serial cheater.
And Julie's in on it. Did they kill Jim Wright too?
I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is bizarre.
How deep does this go?
It's deep. It's deep.
Oh my God, you're right.
She already had it.
Yeah, because she wakes up the gift shop person at 3 a.m. No. I am not a doctor. I am not driving the boat. If I work at the gift shop opens at 9, you call me at 9. Do not friggin' call me at 3 a.m.
Well, you got to think like she's calling the gift shop person going, 2 things. I need a gold choker of an undetermined size and all of your pornography. I need to take a look at all of it.
Also, what gets blood out? That's the smoking gun.
I'm telling you. And the thing is, too, Julie's the one that told him to get his next wife measured because it has to fit snugly. So how the hell did she know what size to get it if he didn't even measure her neck? And if he didn't measure her neck, then why did she say you need to measure her neck? Something rotten on this boat. That's what I think.
Everyone's a suspect.
They didn't think this thing through, or they didn't expect two snarky men talking about this 45 years later. Let's get these guys on the horn. If any of these directors are alive, let's get them on an episode and just be like, just rail them. Be like, why did you do that with Julie? Yeah.
I think it's a breadcrumb. I think they wanted us to find out.
It's like a secret. Somebody's like really crying out for help.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. A stunned Denise is like, "Whoa, you're not trying to murder me," and then giggles in relief.
You're just trying to throw me a weird birthday party where I don't know anybody? Awesome.
Something tells me she didn't need Doc's pills because she has a big old bottle of pills that she has for herself to deal with her.
Oh yeah, that book is
craziness.
just hollowed out with pills in it.
Hollowed out with a knife and just loose pills in there. Just as the chef, number 2 appearance, emerges with a giant birthday cake, but he couldn't fit it all in strawberries on the cake. The writing. Chef makes another appearance in his PJs. And then Bert and the crew sing happy birthday, and Denise gazes at it happily. What the hell is going on here? It's 3:00 in the morning. This woman's talking about everyone's trying to kill her, and everyone's like, no, silly. No one's tired. No one's pissed off that they're having to stay here. Now everyone's got to sing happy birthday. This guy threw the worst birthday thing for his wife ever, and he was really trying to kill her. Happy birthday. I didn't succeed. It was just to cover his tracks. Guy's a scumbag.
Happy death day.
Allegedly. Yeah. So, and she's happy. Oh, everything.
Well, when's your birthday? Like, did he time it out right? There's 10 days.
I know. I was kind of hoping she'd be like, my birthday was 6 months ago.
We've been at sea this whole time.
And then you just see her just topple over the side of the boat. Oh, boy. Robert Tanner arrives in the dining room and tells a large table of passengers that the police found the international jewel thief. Again,
so that, I feel like, is the first move that he's actually doing to have them put their guard down.
Yeah.
But it fooled me.
The hook.
Fooled me.
He got me.
And my other question is, so as we've now established, this dinner schedule is tightly scheduled.
You got to get them in and out, man.
But all these people leave, so they're out of luck. They don't get to eat tonight.
I don't think so. You're just SOL.
Man,
it is what it
boring? Is he? Or do I have to wait for the midnight buffet?
Well, and remember that night? That's the night he was supposed to have the rare roast beef. That was the big topic for discussion.
So awful.
Robert Tanner arrives in the dining room. I already told you that. Captain Stubing excitedly announces to passengers that Miss Roxy Blue is on board. Miss Roxy Blue is on board. Sorry, having a little technical.
Is that what that was?
Difficulties. Yeah, that was. Sorry about that.
I thought that's what Stubing was doing when Roxy Blue was on board.
I think I need to work on my international symbols. I know choking, technical difficulties, probably not that.
Well, yeah, especially because everything sounded and looked fine. So.
Like T. Maybe it's T.
T.
Anyway, well, I'm good now. Captain Stubing excitedly announces to the passengers that Miss Roxy Blue is on board. Here we go. Just as she makes a grand entrance, and Stubing's just fawning over her. It's just embarrassing. Again, short jacket. That's all he wears, and all he does is have dinner. She makes a grand entrance on Doc's arm, which I thought was a bit of an insult, given Doc's reputation. Like, I was like, that's kind of crappy.
Well, also, right away. Because did you notice when they sit down, there's a blonde lady next to Doc?
He's like, oh, I'll take one of you, the dark hair lady. Doc's a scumbag. I love Doc. Captain Stubing motions these exaggerated motions at Isaac to bring over champagne, and for somebody who's stuck up,
he comes off really badly with it. Now, on the assumption that that the Stubing doesn't know, that Isaac's been hooking up with Roxy, that's okay. But you're still treating you're big timing him. Because at one point he's like, "Oh, Isaac, please, the bubbly," or it was just like kind of a dick.
Well, considering in episode 1, he went to bat for his crew in the way that he felt like they weren't being treated
Right.
nicely or
And
fairly.
now it's like, oh, there's a pretty girl. Pour this, but look how much more
It's
important I
just
am than you.
he's a he's a
I didn't
star
like that.
chaser. I
I
didn't
didn't like
like it
that.
either. It's weird. Roxy makes a snide joke about how she's faithful to every man she finds attractive. Ouch. Then she glares at Isaac and barks, "Roxy is thirsty."
Yeah.
Ooh, Captain Steubing, who seems oblivious to her rudeness towards Isaac, asks if she wouldn't mind performing for the passenger, and she agrees and sings the song "Come Rain or Come Shine" in the most awkward manner I've ever seen a song sung. Staring
So
intensely at Isaac. He's about to
yeah.
cry.
Yeah, this is rough. So
Oh God.
couple things. So this is the second straight week of a musical performance.
Oh, good
It's
call.
almost the exact same length. It's 2 minutes again. So I wonder, I'll be curious to see how many of these pop up because like we're into the show enough now where maybe there's some reaction or some notes
Hmm.
that, you know, maybe we needed a little more music in there or something like that. So I'll be curious to see what happens. Although both people, as you said, were like actual music people, so it's not like
Right, right. It was an odd. I,
I'm
I
more
felt
into.
like this scene wasn't necessary. Like I feel like they didn't have to do this. They could have just had that later scene where she stops by his cabin. Like I felt like this was. She's already hurt the guy, and at this point, he's
I guess
about to
if you talk about
cry.
being a musical star, you got to show people. You can't just say it.
Oh, that's true. In case you didn't believe us, the vocal
Plus,
stylings of
we had to pad out 2 minutes.
and Captain's like he claps so fast. Ladies and
Uh,
gentlemen, Miss Roxy Blue. And he's like,
the other
so
thing
embarrassing.
was so last week when Charo sang her song, it was all contained in the 2 minutes. This one they
Mhm.
do a slow fade out.
I'm
So
just
that
glad they
woman
faded out.
that song could have gone for like 20 minutes. She's
Maybe
just
it did. We didn't see
throwing
the
it.
end of it. Who
But
knows?
how many people are just like waiting for a drink while she's singing and Isaac's just like having his heart ripped from his
You, you
chest?
got to wait for your bartender to stop crying before you can get that next
Yeah,
martini.
you want some tears with that Kahlua?
Every drink was dirty because of all the saltwater tears and everything that's just dripping into it. Poor Isaac.
Rough night.
Uh,
Don't date the customers, Isaac.
don't date the customers. Come on. Don't where you eat or work, right? Don't that whole thing.
Yeah.
When the ship docks, Robert Tanner bids adieu to Gopher, who checks his bag and jokes about him stealing the ship's supply of liver and onions. Robert thanks him for everything and says he's going to recommend the Pacific Princess to all of his friends. This is the
Prison
scene.
friends.
Prison friends, good
Yeah.
call. Well, or not prison friends.
Well, it's true. Yeah.
You know where he's going. What's that place in Mexico where the guy from Shawshank Redemption went to? What was his name? That's where he went. That's where he's going. Ponta something like that.
Hope is a
Look,
wonderful thing.
my friend Robert Tanner. Roxy Roxy stops by Isaac's cabin to chide him for not seeing her last night. And Riley says he was much too tired from serving drinks all night.
Now I've done this move in various forms. That's
Like
where
a passive aggressive sort of.
stubbornness and spite cost you one last night with Roxy Blue, Isaac. And I get it, and maybe that's pride, and maybe you feel better about it in the morning. But man, she was going to leave one way or the other. You probably could have had one more night.
And I would
hang
assume
out.
she was going to put it on him too. I mean, it's the last night. She
Oh,
knows it the last night.
there was a lot
Craziness.
there was a lot of intensity going on in that singing. So yeah.
Oh, she knew she was about to do some craziness to him.
But
So
maybe in the end, because again, they leave it up in the air a little bit. Maybe in the end, her respect for him grew by him not doing that. So,
or she just didn't give a crap either way. She was whatever.
Yeah, she was just running through the bar that night.
I'm Roxy effing Blue.
Yep.
Maybe she, she invites herself in, says she tried to tell him how things are, meaning that their little world didn't have anything to do with reality. She describes herself as a showpiece. I wonder if there's any truth into this whole thing because she was such a big star. Showpiece, an object, a star. So Isaac reminds her that she's also a woman. Good one, Isaac. Really great one, Captain
He's
Obvious.
struggling. He's
You
not.
are of the female gender. That's great,
This
Isaac.
is not. He's not in the same league with
How
her.
does this?
He's flameless. He did good. He overshot his weight here. So
I also think he doesn't have the communication skills necessary to be a profitable bartender. If he's doing this, he's falling to pieces, and his comeback is that she's reminding her that you're also a woman. Like,
well, no. He also said now stinks.
You're now stinks. Now stinks was kind of dumb.
Yeah,
she
it was
tells
not.
him
It was
that-
not a great performance by Isaac in terms of
he's he was just out of his league.
I'm
She
really
tells him-
curious to see if he just starts plowing through the princess.
Like there's a change. Like all of a
Yeah.
sudden now he like dreads his hair up. You know,
I
the
think it's just
whole
that thing
thing
where
now.
it's like, oh, this is the game. There's no such thing as love.
This is the answer to the question that somebody asks him 10 years from now and goes, "What happened to make you such a womanizer?"
Right. Yep.
Well, look at episode 5.
Right. Exactly.
Period. It's almost like a resource piece to kind of go by reference piece to go back to. She tells him he's too much of a man to ever be a Mr. Roxy Blue. Not to mention, she's been married 3 times previously to men who weren't able to handle her success. That's a man eater right there, you know?
Yeah, but 3 and 4, Doc's still up on her.
That's true.
Unless
That's
those
true.
two got married at one point.
Well, can a captain marry you at sea? Don't they have that thing?
Yeah. Oh, you know that's coming.
That's coming. That's coming. Come on, Doc.
10 times.
Come on.
10.
He'll be
Guaranteed
like,
Stubing has. That's my over under. 10 weddings Stubing performs.
he's gonna be like, I can. I've got dinner. He's too busy to marry anybody. She apologizes for the crappy way she treated him, sort of, and hopes he can forgive her. And he shrugs and pretends that they merely enjoyed a few laughs. She stares back and solemnly says, "It was a lot more than that. A lot more."
Yeah.
And that's it.
I get it. There's a bit of pride there. He's not giving her too much, but he'll regret that.
He can't handle that whole thing.
He'll regret that in a couple weeks that he didn't leave it a little better. But that's okay. That comes with time.
We'll
We don't
see.
even know how old Isaac is. He could be 20.
Or he could be like one of those Meet Joe Black guys. He could be 78 years old. You never know.
Maybe he's like Joe Crab or whatever that guy
Joe
was. in that movie.
raised by Native Americans, fought General Custer. Never know. Bert and Denise thank Julie for helping out with the disastrous birthday party that Bert didn't do anything to plan ahead of time. Bert is a terrible husband, a serial cheater, and I feel bad for Denise being stuck in that loveless marriage.
She's not making it out of Vegas.
Well, she suggested Denise that they extend their vacation by flying to Vegas. He's just going to kill her in Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't know, some way.
Yeah.
They're going to go to the, circus. Denise looks panicked and reminds him how stressed she gets about air travel. Okay.
How stressed Denise gets about everything.
About everything. You're a freaking mess. Well, imagine if he's been trying to kill her for years. She probably has a right to all these near misses.
Maybe it's a real chicken egg situation.
It really is. Myra races in the lobby and screeches that all of her jewelry has been stolen. Just as crew member appears with her jewelry case and tells her that some guy just returned it to him.
Yep.
Myra opens it and finds it empty, save for a note from Robert Tanner, Tanner, identifying himself as Roscoe Toller, aka International Jewel Thief at Large. He ends the note by urging Myra to not get robbed by her insurance company. Yuck.
Now, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So
everybody
on the steps reads the letter silently, and then Stubing feels the need to read the PS out loud. He's like, it's not about you. Everybody did the voiceover in their head.
I think the captain just lives in a world where he assumes everyone wants to have dinner with him and that nobody else can read. He's just in a very limited bubble type situation on that boat.
At first, I thought that was the end of the episode.
Same here.
And it was like a very Streets of San Francisco or one of those endings where it was like
abrupt,
dun, dun, and then that's it.
That is not the end, sir. Here we go. Last scene, Isaac watches Roxy's white man entourage arrive to pick her up. Gopher walks over to Isaac. What a good friend Gopher is.
He really is.
And Isaac glumly tells him that Roxy Blue is a very nice lady and that he highly doubts they'll ever see each other again. He then pretends as though he was the dumper in the scenario and declares that he's saving herself for someone really terrific. This is where the change. This is where Isaac becomes bitter. This is where it happens. Just as Roxy stares up at him and gives him one last wistful look before climbing into her limo and disappearing from Isaac's life forever.
Yep.
End of episode.
No, it was interesting because I didn't, like I said, I didn't think they were gonna go back to it, and they definitely like leave it vague enough that it would. I think you can assume that what she said is true, and in a different world they would have been together, but that doesn't really make a difference.
No, it doesn't make a difference.
Do you think like they even bothered exchanging phone numbers, or that's not even a thing?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that goes against sort of like the point she was making.
Yeah.
Like, you can't handle it. Basically, it's not a nice message. She's just saying you can't handle it. It is what it is.
Yeah. No, it was a tough end for Isaac, and we probably learned more about him than we have about any other character in any one episode. That was a real journey.
Although we did learn a lot about the captain in episode 1.
That's true.
With the background, but I think this was a little more. This was a little better done. I think it just showed the emotion and the vulnerability, and maybe it was done so you build like compassion for a character like Isaac. Like, oh, he's got a heart of gold.
I don't think they're actually going to go like the way of him being a womanizer. I think they're just going to go. It's like, oh, this is a guy who's had his heart broken. So
it's like,
what better person to pour your heart out to, share your sorrows with, than a bartender who's been there, man.
It's just like, meet Isaac. He gets it.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, not the smoothest. Not the smoothest game, but at the end of the day, he had about 8 days with a massive rock star. So that's like Taylor Swift rolling into your bar today.
Count your lucky stars.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good
That's
story.
What he should have been doing.
It's a good story for the boys on the boat,
They had to.
Doing our little recap here for the week. Last week's episode was the current champion. I am definitely voting for this week's episode as the best episode. I thought this was great. Even like you said, the third storyline, which we kind of thought was going to be bad, had a great finish. I think this is probably the closest we came to all 3 storylines hitting, and it had some crew stuff. So a nice. I would vote for this one as being the best episode so far.
I'm right there with you. I think this episode, everything I want from a Love Boat, a Love Boat episode as far as storylines go. Some of it cheesy, of course, it's Love Boat, but I liked each storyline. And again, the Jim Nabors jewel thief one, you just had to be a little patient. It's a slow burn.
It was well earned. It was well earned.
I thought it was great. I think easily King of the Hill at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to beat, because I don't think we've even come close to having 3 good storylines in the same episode.
Keep in mind, I mean, 4 and 5 back to back, I feel like very solid episodes. Maybe this is where we're starting to get that pace, that comfort, where the episodes are going to be of a similar quality.
What if this is the peak and we have 245 episodes left
of just crap? Oh, just watching, stooping, eating slowly, staring at the camera.
It's all Jim Nabors describing food. Captain of the week. There's actually a lot of candidates this week. I think Diane Carroll was great. That's a very nuanced role. But I went with Michelle Lee and the whole murder plot in general. Like we said, that is something where that could have been really, really bad. And it just had a lot of great elements and really earned all of it till the end. I didn't love the complete ending with the birthday party, but I thought Michelle Lee was really good playing a subtle, crazy person who apparently had every right to be worried about things.
I would agree, but for entertainment purposes, I'm going to go ahead and give that to Isaac. And I say that because I feel like that role showed that vulnerability. It sort of painted his character as a nice guy, you know, a guy who's not trying to put up numbers, like he's emotional, he's accessible, and I think that it really did a lot to define the character.
Yeah.
So with the writing and the acting, I thought it was really good, and I thought it was very effective in framing who that character is. So I would give that to Isaac's role.
Yeah, and I hope that they then go forward from here like that and not
Yeah,
do their abrupt Steubing follow up that they
like
did in
different
that first
director,
episode.
different
Yeah,
art. Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. There has to be some consistency with the way the crew is.
This one's a little tougher, walk the plank, because we did like the episode so much. I am actually going to give it to Steubing for being a jerk to Isaac in the bar scene at the end. Again, he didn't know what was going on, which almost makes it worse because he was just being a jerk because he was trying to impress a star.
Hmm.
And that's like, Roxy's going to be gone tomorrow, bub. You got to work with Isaac for the next 10 years, and you're treating him like the help, and you have earned no captain's points this week.
No,
to be
I
able to do
agree.
that. So that would be
Yeah,
mine.
I wish I could disagree. And I got to be honest, he's going to get my vote every week until I see a damn steering wheel. Again, he just, the way he fawned over Roxy and the quick claps, he makes an ass out of himself because he's like so easily impressed. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to walk up to him with a shiny button just to, ooh, come to
I feel
dinner
like-
with your short jacket. I've just show
I
me
feel
the
like
wheels.
he's really turned into your villain on this show already.
Where are you hiding the bodies, Captain Steubing? That's what I want to know. Just show me the steering wheel. That's all I want.
That's our recap for this week.
That's our recap. And just here are our ways to get a hold of us and see our show. Loveboatproject at Gmail. We'd love to hear from you. At Loveboat Project on Twitter, Loveboat Project on Facebook, and Loveboat Project on YouTube.
which you probably know because that's the main
That's
way
kind
to
of where
watch
we
it.
are. It's kind of
Yeah,
where we
it'd
are.
be weird if you didn't know that, but
Well, thank you, everyone. We will see you again next episode. Thank you, Mike, as always. And I can't wait for the next episode.